to Batya on NewsNation. I'm Batya-Ungar Sargon, and we have a great show for you. Ambassador Mike Huckabee joins to give you the inside scoop on what the president is thinking about Iran. And of course, all that drama with Tucker Carlson at the Tel Aviv airport. What really went down there? Jillian Michaels is here to tell us whether RFK Jr. will help or hurt the president in the midterms. And we've got a great panel to tell you how regular Americans are feeling about the economy. But we begin with what we learned about America this week. On Friday, the Supreme Court ruled that the president had exceeded his authority in imposing global tariffs in a 6-3 decision. Small businesses in Democrat-led states challenged the tariffs in court, saying that they are a tax on the American people and taxes need the approval of Congress. But the president invoked a 1977 law that gives the president economic powers during a national emergency. He's right. Think of everything the tariffs have achieved. Trump imposed a tariff on Canada, China, and Mexico in February of last year for their despicable refusal to prevent the free flow of fentanyl into our country. In response to the tariffs, Mexico began to police its side of the border for the first time in 5 years. That's how you got the secure border. Apparently, to the Supreme Court majority, our wide-open border and 100,000 fentanyl deaths a year aren't an emergency. I beg to differ. The president argued that our trade deficit represented a national emergency. The tariffs attracted trillions of dollars in foreign commitments to build factories and forced American corporations to look domestically for supply chains. They got our cars access to the Japanese markets, to South Korea, and to the EU. I guess to the Supreme Court majority, the disinheritance of the American working class through globalization is not an emergency. They're wrong. Tariffs also forced Big Pharma to reshore manufacturing and give us most favored nation pricing, overturning the disgusting status quo in which we were paying 4 times what other rich countries paid for drugs developed with our taxpayer dollars. I guess seniors not being able to afford their meds isn't an emergency to the Supreme Court. What do you think? And on the taxes front, since Liberation Day, economists have promised that the tariffs would be passed on to consumers. Turns out, less than a fifth were. Inflation is at a 5-year low. It was American corporations who paid for the tariffs. Most importantly, on China, Trump's tariffs put American workers first, ending the mass fleecing of the American working class, which begins and ends with our dependence on China. That dependence was certainly an emergency, both domestic and foreign. Remember when China released the COVID-19 virus into the world and killed tens of millions of people, and then we relied on them to produce the PPE that we would need and the vaccines that we would need to protect ourselves? China produces all of our ships. It is absolute insanity to depend on your greatest adversary to produce the very things you would need to defend yourself from its aggression. Of course, the stock market is thrilled that the tariffs are on ice. Let's not mince words. The Supreme Court has betrayed the American people and handed a big win to China.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.